Well, so let's try it this way.
Are you good? You good? You okay? You ready?
Let's see how it sounds with sound. I was trying that Spider-Verse version of the tagline. So
your canon event is where you're muted. Got it.
It's a canon event. What's going on, everyone? We are the Cinefanatics. My name is Robert Adams.
I'm Chris Adams.
And this is the Tagline, the show where the tagline is the title. Welcome to your Wednesday night. Glad to see everyone here. Everyone who is all of Commentatoring Nerd in the chat. We got a lot to talk about, and we don't have very much time because we got a lot of stuff going on.
On tonight's program, you'll believe a man can fly. Again.
Through an hour-long show.
Again. You got to not interrupt my punchline, man. You got to not interrupt it.
Yeah. And again and again and again. Guys, as we're getting this started, y'all know the YouTube things. YouTube, streamlabs.com/cinefanatics. You have any questions, comments, issues, complaints, make sure you let us know right there so we can bring it up and highlight that. Also, patreon.com/cinefanatics. If you think we are worthy of your support and you have the means to support us, please hop on Patreon and any tier you feel like could be supportive. Please keep in mind, if you are jumping on that there is about to be only two tiers, $1 and $5. So if you're hopping on the $25 tier, we appreciate that. And that will be good for what's coming up here in a little bit. But after this month, that $25 tier is not going to be there. So
if you're going to sign up, just sign up at the 5. Honestly, just sign up at the 5.
Well,
you can sign up at the 1 if you want, but sign up at the 5 because 10 and 25 are going away.
Hold on a second. Pump the brakes on this. There is the Patreon trivia tonight, which you do have to be on the $25 tier to join us tonight, but it will be after the trivia tonight. Then it will be switching over to the $5. So, anyways, look up at the screen. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's the Cinefanatics. Thank you, sir. Yes, so trivia tonight on the Patreon. If you are at that $25 tier, you can join us. We will be in our Discord. Roughly, it's going to be, 8 Pacific, 11 Eastern, 10 Central. Be in the Discord voice queue, and we will be playing some Harrison Ford-themed trivia because apparently this is a Harrison Ford-themed week. So, anyway, so that will be tonight. And then again, after the trivia tonight, that $25 tier is going to disappear. Trivia and movie watch-alongs will be at the $5 tier starting next month. As for our upcoming shows, real quick, we will have our Dial of Destiny review up probably late tomorrow. We're not getting to see the movie till like the 6 o'clock hour our time. So I think that's like, 2.5, almost 3 hours long. So by the time we come home, kind of rest a bit, and then film the review, edit the review, and get it up, it's probably not going to be until like 1 o'clock in the morning Central Time. So it'll be a late one, but yeah, stay on the lookout for that. It'll be spoiler-free as well. The other big one coming up this Friday, we've been talking about it for at least a month. We will be tier ranking Harrison Ford action and sci-fi movies on the marquee this Friday. That will be, I don't have the times on there. I believe that is going to be 7:30. Was it 7:30 Pacific, 10:30 Eastern?
Yeah.
So that will be the marquee. Joining us will be special guests. And I mean, if you're going to be tier ranking some Harrison Ford movies, who else would you get than the guys who are very well aware of Harrison Ford? This would be the owners of the Ford Fiesta show, the movie guys. Adam Witt and Paul Preston will be joining us for the marquee this Friday, and it's going to be a blast. Just super excited. Chris?
I'm so very excited.
We love these two guys. So they're a lot of fun. They're very knowledgeable, and they're big fans of Harrison Ford. So it should be a good time. So make sure you come join us again this Friday, 7:30 Pacific, 10:30 Eastern. And of course, since we're talking about Harrison Ford, we got to play the.
I made some pancakes. If y'all want some.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Fuck yeah, I want some pancakes.
You know what's really fun about that clip? I know I haven't watched that show. Was that Shrinking? I haven't watched that show. You have. And what's funny is after all the Harrison Ford movies that I've been watching lately in preparation for the marquee, watching that clip and him just like out of nowhere, fuck yeah, I want some pancakes, is so great. It's so funny.
But here's the thing, though. You having brought this clip in and playing it every single week, it's ruined that moment for you in the show. So if you ever go and watch that show, now you're going to see that moment coming. You're going to be like, oh, there's the line. Whereas for me, when I watched that show and that moment happened, I did not see it coming. And Harrison Ford coming around the pancakes, screaming that line, I was like, coming around the corner and screaming that line, I was completely thrown off guard. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
Also, it's probably one of the best lines ever uttered by the man, and that's saying a lot concerning his filmography. And I would love to hear him say, "Get off my plane," and "Fuck yeah, I want some pancakes."
Just for the rest of my life. What kind of commercial uses the F word? Well, a good one, or one that plays on YouTube.
He's from the Apple TV show.
Yeah. Anyways, so that is coming up this Friday. After this Friday, however, we will be taking our yearly summer hiatus. So we may still have like trailer reactions pop up, but we're taking a break from like Tagline. I don't think we really have any like movie reviews potentially. We may have some, I believe.
We'll probably still have some movie reviews because I think there's a couple movies coming out at the beginning of July, maybe.
I think so too. I can't remember off the top of my head right now, but we'll probably still have those. But yeah, we're taking a break from Tagline. So Tagline will be back Wednesday, July 19th, just in time to be talking about some Barbie and Oppenheimer. And I believe that's also going to be right before Comic-Con. And
that'll also be our last, I believe that'll be our last Barbie watch before we actually see Barbie itself. So
yeah.
Wow. That means only 2 more Barbie watches.
Oh, that's right. There is Mission Impossibles in there also. So We'll have a Mission Impossible review up.
I think hold on. 2 more Barbie watches tonight and 1 more before Barbie comes out.
Yeah.
Guys, we're almost there. I can't believe we're finally nearing the end of this bit. It's been going on for how long now?
Over a year.
Over a year.
Easily over a year.
Jeez.
Yeah. So yeah, good times coming. Anyways, let's get into what movies have you watched over this past week? What brand new movies have you watched for the first time?
I just watched Blade Runner 2049 for the first time. I know. I was like, this is the first time you've watched it? Yes, it is the first time I've watched it. Listen, I'm going to rank it on the marquee, but I'm going to give you all a hint. I'm going to rank it very favorably. I really thought it was a good movie. I like it better than the first one, so that should tell you where some of the stuff is going to go. So, my recommendation on Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah. I have not seen Blade Runner 2049 yet. I will probably be watching it tonight, and I believe other than Dial of Destiny, that's the last Harrison Ford movie I need to catch up on before the marquee. Mm-hmm. So I will be enjoying that hopefully later tonight after the Harrison Ford trivia in the Discord for the patrons. Anyways, as far as me for the past week, again, watching Harrison Ford movies, I watched Ender's Game and Cowboys and Aliens. One of them was very enjoyable. The other one was
there.
It's people in a movie.
The other one existed.
The other one, yeah. If you want to find out which is which, you got to watch the marquee, or probably just look at my my Letterboxd, because I think I've already like rated them on there. And then I also watched The Machine, which surprisingly doesn't have Harrison Ford in it. And I don't know why. That would have been nice because could have knocked out another Harrison Ford movie. But no, I had to watch The Machine instead because I was eager to watch it when it came out in the theaters. And I just didn't get a chance to. So now that it's available for home viewing, I watched it at home. And it's all right. I had higher hopes for it. And it had a couple of cute jokes to it. But if you're not familiar with The Machine, it's a movie based off of a bit by Bert Kreischer, stand-up comedian, and his actual story that he tells in his stand-up is much better than this movie. So, yeah, it's a lot of fun though. The story is a lot of fun. The movie was okay, has some good bits, but not as great as I was hoping it could be.
Yep.
Anyways, I think that is it for everything else. Nerd says I need to watch Air Force One as the main marquee. Yeah, enjoy Air Force One. Spoilers, that one's probably going to rank pretty high, at least between the two of us.
Other spoilers, it's definitely a 90s movie.
Yes, it is. And I think that's what I love about it. But anyways, let's get into some movie news.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Good evening. This is what's happening in your world tonight.
We apologize for the interruption.
Back to you.
Oh, back to us. Guys, let's talk about this box office. And boy, howdy, is there box office news to talk about. Because, woo! This is why I love doing the guess what's in the number one spot in the box office this weekend. Now, here, typically, everyone would assume, hey, it's the new movie that just came out. Sure, fair enough. But in these rare instances where it's making headlines as to what movie is number one, this is the fun thing. It's Across the Spider-Verse. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which has now been out for 4 weeks, is back at the number one spot. We're in the good timeline.
Yeah.
We're finally in the good timeline. Now, I'm sorry. Should we remain unbiased as a professional news show? No.
What's with that word professional?
When have we ever been professional? Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Yeah, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse being the number one spot is big deal because as Lego says in the chat, it deserves it. It is in that number one spot with another $19 million, which if $19 million is the number one spot, that actually means the box office isn't looking pretty good this last weekend.
No.
Elemental is in that number two spot, holding strong at the number two for the second week in a row at almost 18.5 million. So coming in slightly underneath Spider-Verse, which, fair enough. Coming in at number three spot, though, is The Flash. The Flash bumping itself down and starting to make its trek downward on the list, and it will only continue to go downward because that movie is bombing. The movie's bombing. The movie is flopping harder than a fish straight out of the water.
And again, it's not a bad movie.
Stupid joke.
It wasn't a bad movie at all.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
audiences just didn't care.
Yeah, and again, I know we've talked about this of whether it was like we all know that this DC universe is ending, so why do I care? Whether you have something against Ezra Miller or you just whatever weird trolling boycott you may want to have, whatever internet things do.
Or you watch the trailer and you just weren't interested in the movie itself.
Or flat out you just aren't interested in that movie. Yeah.
Any
all
number
of the above, I think,
reasons.
probably.
Yeah, any number of reasons. But the real story here, other than Spider-Verse being number one again, is that The Flash barely made number three, barely above the new Jennifer Lawrence comedy No Hard Feelings, which opened this week at the number 4 spot. And when I say barely, I mean literally a handful of theaters are the reasons why Flash, fared better. We're talking about Flash. Let me read the actual numbers here domestically. 15,142,575 for The Flash. No Hard Feelings. 15,002,770. So literally a difference of about 140, roughly around 140 or so $1,000 is the difference between those two movies. Not even $250,000.
I'll take $140,000 if we're calling it just that a little amount. If someone can easily afford that, I mean, I would love to have $140,000.
We're talking about in terms of box office.
That's super close.
That's maybe the theaters in the north part of Austin. All the theaters that make up the north part of Austin.
Yeah.
Combined. So like half of a city. That's half of a city's worth of theaters that are the difference between those two movies, basically.
Yeah.
That's incredible. That's incredible. All right. Number 5, we've got Transformers Rise of the Beasts. Number 6 is Asteroid City, which is good because I think now it is officially wide release. So it bumped up from that number 10 spot last week up to number 6. So good for Wes Anderson. Number 7, we've got Little Mermaid. Number 8, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which I think should be hitting Disney Plus fairly soonish.
Yeah. Well, I think that one's going to do, I believe they're going to do like what Quantumania did. It'll be released for like VOD before it's released on Disney Plus.
Okay.
So I believe it's going to be released on demand here like within a week or two.
Fairly soon, yeah. Number 9 is The Blackening. And then number 10, almost falling off this list, been out for 4 weeks, is The Boogeyman.
Oh, God, go away.
Fast X, here's another story. Fast X was number 9 last week, completely off the list this week at number 12.
And that one is available for home viewing now.
And that's part of the reason why, for sure. So that's your box office. It's a lot happening there. A lot to be known for sure. Now, moving on from the box office, as I stated earlier, we've got 2 more episodes of this bit. And I didn't realize it until we just started the show tonight. But yeah, 2 more Barbie watches, guys. 2 more. I might edit together a new intro for it.
Maybe.
By the time we come back. I mean, I'm going to have 2 weeks off to do it. I've had some health issues that have kept me from being able to focus in on anything creative lately. So it is what it is. But in honor of 2 more Barbie Watch episodes left, we've got 2 stories in the Barbie Watch tonight.
I literally go nowhere without them.
I will say it is weird going from watching Blade Runner 2049 to rewatching anything dealing with Ryan Gosling in this movie.
I was going to say, replay that intro. I forgot to see the clip of her stepping out of the shoe.
No. In fact, now I don't even want to play it at the end of the bit.
After I put out that tweet a couple of days ago. That was so funny.
You need to check in somewhere freaking down bad over here for some plastic feet. Anyway, fun stories this week. One of the main ones, of course, you all probably heard this or seen this across social media this week. There is a Barbie dream house that has popped up in Malibu in California. And that's kind of been making waves. I believe that it's in celebration of the movie, obviously. But here's the thing that you might not have known is it didn't actually just pop up from the movie. This house has been a Barbie dream house already. It's been a Barbie dream house for a while and was up for an Airbnb. It probably has been just an Airbnb, but it was at a reduced rate, probably about $60 a night back in 2019, celebrating Barbie's 60th anniversary. And it was just for like 1 weekend. You could get it for $60 a night. And it was like 2 bedrooms, something, whatever, that were for rent. This is actually what it looked like right here. I know it was, the framing is off. I just, go with it. Okay. Yes, we see you. This is actually what it looked like when it initially was built and promoted as the Airbnb. So you see, I mean, it's got Barbie influence. It's got some pink in there and, what have you. However, it has been fully transformed and has made waves this last week as to looking like this now for the movie. Yeah, that's pink. That's pink if I've ever seen pink.
Dude, look at that kitchen, though. That outdoor kitchen with that reclining area next to it.
Oh, yeah. Listen. I would definitely spend several nights here. 100%.
I don't know if I would play basketball up there on that like third floor though, because I have a feeling like knowing how great my balling skills are, that ball would hit the rim and then fly it down into the pool on the ground.
All right,
In which
your trick
case,
shot goal is to hit the E and Ken.
yeah. In which case, this actually looks like it's built into a hillside. So knowing my luck, the ball would probably bounce out of the pool. How it's bouncing off of water, I don't know. It's beside the point. Just go with it. It would bounce out of the pool and would roll down the hill, and then we're not playing basketball anymore. So
Exactly. Either way, that is the Barbie Dream House that has popped up. It looks amazing. I don't know if there is like an actual like Airbnb part involved at this point, or if it's literally just existing out there as a promotional piece on the side of the hill. I'm sure there is probably like an Airbnb or rental element to it for people who can afford it, but they probably raised the price given the promotion for the movie. Everybody also on the internet doing all their memes of, hey, wouldn't it be funny if Oppenheimer just took this opportunity to promote their movie as well? Obviously that'd be hilarious, but not ethical in any way, shape, or form. The other news story tonight for the Barbie Watch is we have a quote from Tom Cruise. Remember last week we were talking about how there's probably going to be a three-way fight in the box office between Mission Impossible and Barbie and Oppenheimer?
yeah, I remember that.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the honest truth. Tom Cruise, while fighting hard for his movie, is all set and board for the Barbenheimer. He's all set for the Barbenheimer weekend. Here's a quote from him on Twitter. He said, "This summer is full of amazing movies to see in theaters. Congratulations, Harrison Ford, on 40 years of Indy and one of the most iconic characters in history. And I love a double feature, and it doesn't get more explosive or more pink than one with Oppenheimer and Barbie." Tom Cruise has already got his ticket set and ready to go to see both Oppenheimer and Barbie this upcoming July. So, it's
laughable.
All's fair in Hollywood, I guess. Everybody loves to support each other and everything. So we love it. We love it. We love to see Tom Cruise with a happy face on, ready to go see both Oppenheimer and Barbie.
It's laughable that you think that he's got tickets to that and that they're just not giving him a copy of the movie to watch in the luxury of his own home.
It's laughable that you think Tom Cruise doesn't support the theatrical industry, given what happened with Top Gun Maverick. His ass is in a theater seat watching the movies in the theater.
Oh, no, he'll probably still buy a ticket. He probably just doesn't go.
He's going to sit in a theater and watch them. That is the Tom Cruise way. You do not besmirch our Scientology overlord.
I literally go nowhere without them.
That's been your Barbie Watch. One more Barbie Watch to go.
One more Barbie Watch sleep till actual Barbie.
Yeah. Moving on to other movie news. Apparently it's been announced there are multiple versions of Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse in the theaters. One that has sound and one that doesn't.
Stop.
No. So actually, what happened is there are multiple versions. People have been noticing that I guess they've been going to see it multiple times, possibly at different theaters, and they're catching different like little changes, just very little subtle jokes or small changes like the color of lettering and text boxes or something like that. Apparently what happened is there was an international version that was released in certain areas for certain like theaters or chains or countries in this case to prep like any kind of closed captioning, translation, probably your audio description for people who are blind. All of that was released, and then there were some small visual effects that were changed on the back end and then released, but some theaters still have that original version that was sent out before the updated changes. So that's one cause. And then the other cause actually is because of that sound mixing issue. Once that sound mixing issue was made public by us, the theaters took note of it completely based off of our complaining of it. And they fixed it, and then they re-released it to the theaters as well. So there's technically like a third version that has like the fixed audio also released out there. But yeah, it's just weird because this is a movie about the Spider-Verse, and yet there's like a multi-universal different versions of the movie that's talking about different versions of Spider-Man. So it's kind of funny, but
it remains to be seen which version is actually going to be available for people to watch whenever they get the movie in their own hands.
Very likely it will probably be the one that had the visuals updated and the audio also fixed. Hopefully. We'll see. Because like I know there's still like a lot of people that have no idea who Hobie Brown is. They just couldn't hear him. Apparently some places they had a hard time even visually seeing him. I guess it was just weird. But anyways, so that's it for the Spider-Verse. So it's easily going to be taking number one in the box office constantly because there's 3 versions of that movie out there. So go see them all. Go see all 3.
Smart play. Just come back to the theaters again and again. You never know which version you're going to see.
You know, Sony could have learned about that with Morbius, but at least they applied it to Across the Spider-Verse. Anyways, moving on to non-comic book related news stories. There's a third Paddington movie. For those of you who are not familiar with the Paddington movies, those movies are the definition of a warm hug. If you are having any kind of stress, depression, anything, just watch a Paddington movie and everything will be A-okay. Anyways, so there's going to be a third one, which I would assume is going to be just as good as the first 2. Instead of Paddington 3, though, it is called Paddington in Peru, which is the country that Paddington is from at the beginning of the first movie. So apparently he's going back, and it was reported that they are adding to the cast. They have Olivia Colman is joining, Antonio Banderas, Rachel Zegler, and Emily Mortimer. Emily Mortimer is taking over the role as the mother of the family from Sally Hawkins, who is refusing to come back. All I just read was like for personal reasons, not really like she's not against like heartwarming bears that eat marmalade, but she just wants to step back, probably like a break from acting or something like that.
Interesting.
Jeff Alterman is a jabroni.
Sure.
If you say so.
He's got to put down those appletinis, I guess. Anyway.
Anyway, so that's a good solid cast. Almost everyone else, as far as I've been able to read from the previous Paddington movies, are all returning. So the main family members are coming back. I'm guessing we're also gonna still get what's his face, Ben Whishaw, as the voice of Paddington. So
probably.
Yeah, that's one of those, like, I'm not too familiar with how Ben Whishaw sounds. I think I've only seen like maybe like a couple of movies that he's in outside of Paddington, but I definitely know Paddington's voice because of those 2 movies. So so that's a good cast.
I'm very excited for this. That is a solid cast, and you know, coming around our lovable little bear, I'm very excited for this. I dare say we go see this in the theater because we didn't get to see the first 2 in the theater. We only caught Paddington after the word of mouth of those movies have spread significantly, and Nicolas Cage recommended the second one for us.
Yeah.
I saw the second one before that movie, but I don't think you saw it until after Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
No, I don't think I saw the first one until after Unbearable Weight. So I've watched both of them probably within the past year or so.
There you go.
Anyways, apparently my cat food alarm is going off. So
your cat is crying.
Yeah, basically. So we'll need to feed her in a little bit. Moving on, it's been announced, we talked about this before, that there are plans to end the Fast and Furious movies, but they are going to be looking at spinoffs. One of the spinoffs that we were all expecting is a sequel to Hobbs and Shaw, which Hobbs and Shaw wasn't a bad movie. was just weird. Kind of some like
It exists.
It took on more of like a superhero movie rather than a Fast and Furious type movie, just because of Idris Elba having like these weird technical superpower type of things. So we were expecting a sequel announcement to that. Instead, we're apparently going to get a movie of Hobbs and Reyes, which is going to be Dwayne Johnson's Luke Hobbs versus Jason Momoa's Dante Reyes, which is supposed to take place between Fast X and Fast 11.
Yep, that's a good face. Nailed it.
The story that's there, if you have seen Fast X, you know the ending, the post-credit scene. The story that we're expecting based off of seeing that post-credits in Fast X is Fast 11's going to basically open with Dom devastated at the scenario that he's in at the end of Fast X, and Hobbs just super pissed off and going after Reyes, after Dante. That's what I would expect would be that Fast 11. Like Dom and Hobbs would meet up and they swear revenge or something.
It doesn't make any sense.
But instead, we're going to divert your expectations and put all of the Hobbs part of that story into this other movie.
Divert?
Yeah.
Okay. That works.
So, I don't know. That's weird.
I don't, yeah. So the thing is that the way Fast X ended, the 11 or Fast X Part 2, whatever the hell, needs to pick up exactly off of that. The ending scene is the beginning scene, basically. Yeah. That's how it works. There's not really room for a whole nother movie's worth of story between those two, or there shouldn't be. Unless
they do a flashback.
And yeah, unless it takes place before Fast X, which
maybe
I don't know. So here's I mean, like I don't know how this works. I don't see where they could put this story in a way that makes it work at all. But that is, of course, without seeing number 11, so I don't know.
Yeah, so I think it might be that it's going to possibly tell a story after Fast 5 where like Dom and his crew all left or whatnot, and for a brief bit there, Hobbs and Elena stayed in Rio and went after Dante. And then there's that whole story there as to what happened between them. And that's kind of like setting up that is Dante coming up with how to really get revenge. Like Dante's trying to go after Hobbs for revenge for shooting his father, but he's not quite like, he doesn't have the whole thing thought out, much like me telling the story right now. He doesn't have the whole thing planned out. So this is like kind of a dry run on him getting revenge.
Lego got it.
They get a DeLorean and go up to 88 miles per hour. Yeah, that's possible too. So yeah, that might be interesting.
I'm okay. Yeah.
As long as they do it as a prequel like that, I think that would be good. But otherwise, yeah, I think it's going to potentially ruin Fast 11. So, all right. Let's go ahead and jump into the main topic for tonight. It was announced yesterday? I think it was yesterday or the day before that officially James Gunn has signed up David Corenswet and Rachel Brosnahan to play Superman and Lois in Superman Legacy. So we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, talking about all the casting for Superman. And I know we hadn't quite gotten into talking about casting for Lois, really, because I know a lot of that just depends on who's playing Superman. I kind of like this casting.
Yeah.
Just looking at them, I think the casting is good.
Yeah, off the top of the head here, this almost feels like best case scenario. I think I was kind of more in favor, like Emma Mackey was up for the role of Lois as well. And I was kind of more in favor of Emma Mackey partnered with David Corenswet, but Rachel Brosnahan is basically probably the best lowest looking individual on that list. She just looks like Lois Lane. I feel like she's going to have the Lois Lane vibe to her. So I think she's going to be great for that role. Obviously, David Cornsweet, all of the internet right now is talking about how, oh, you just casted a Henry Cavill look-alike. And the answer to that is, yeah. You know who Henry Cavill looks like?
Superman.
So you know who David Cornsweet looks like? Superman.
Yeah. So real quick, because I was expecting someone was going to bring this up and no one has brought it up yet, but the thumbnail that I made for tonight, you may notice there's a couple of Supermen that are missing off of here, which, I mean, part of it might be just like personal. There's a couple, or at least one in particular, as of right now, and his behavior on the internet does not need him to be acknowledged or mentioned as being a part of these fine super gentlemen.
And then there's Tyler Hoechlin, who is just not on the.
And then there's Tyler Hoechlin, who me personally, I think Tyler Hoechlin does not look like Superman. He's got a weird look to him, and I just don't know. Granted, I haven't watched the show, so I know that I'm being biased just looking at the dude and like, yeah, I don't see Superman, but he might do very well in the show. In fact, I hear that show is really good. So aside from that,
I saw a clip of Doomsday from that show, by the way, and 1,000% better than BVS, which is insane for a CW television show.
But the real question was, how was it compared to the Doomsday in Smallville?
That's, look, there's practical effects with the Doomsday in Smallville, and there's just a charm to that. It's not comparable, really, but it's still better.
Well, that one had Sam Witwer, so that makes it much better as well.
Well, there's that too.
Yeah, so I like the look of David Cornsweet. I think he's got that Superman look to him. He does look very similar to Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill had a similar look to Christopher Reeve, and I think David Cornsweet is great in the line of people who are going to look like Superman. He was in that movie Pearl, but I completely forgot that he was in that until we talked about that the other week or so ago. Mm. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. He was that projectionist dude that she was interested in.
He's got the best intersection of looks like Superman and is a small enough actor that you're not seeing the actor in the role. You're seeing the character in the role, which is going to be huge for his career because this is going to be one of the big career-defining roles for him. Just like Superman was kind of a career-defining role for Henry Cavill as well. So you're going to get that perfect intersection there, which is, I think, one of the big things that James Gunn was looking for. On top of that, we know that James Gunn is very aptly looking for somebody who he wants to work with, who he thinks is going to actually do a good job on top of looking like the character. And I think based on what he's said for both David Cornsweet and Rachel Brosnahan is that they are both they are both fitting those roles exactly the way he had it in his mind. So
yeah. I know a lot of people are saying that he doesn't look beefy enough to play Superman. The movie doesn't start shooting until January, so basically starting as of right now, he's probably eating like an entire chicken every day and hitting that gym for 2, 3, 4, 5 hours every day.
Also, the other side of it too is that he knew he was casted in this role before they made the announcement public.
Yeah, so he's probably already been working out for the past like week and a half, 2 weeks or so.
He's already gotten on the jump, and we'll start seeing him in Superman shape, beginning the Superman shape probably within a month.
Mm-hmm. The same thing happened with Henry Cavill when he first got announced. People started showing pictures of Henry Cavill, and he was just like this skinny dude. Like really, the only thing I knew Henry Cavill of before Superman was the Count of Monte Cristo, and he was 19, but he looked like a kid in that. So I was like, this dude's gonna play Superman. And then when we saw Superman, like all beefy, bulked up or whatnot, I was like, yep, that works. That's a good looking Superman right there.
On top of that, he was also coming off of that movie Immortals, so he had already put on muscle for a role. So his body was already used to the idea of having muscle. So all he had to do was just fall back into the same pattern he was already in before, and his body picked it up quick. So, but I mean, we're looking at like people who complain about this. They're not realizing the what like Christian Bale has put himself through prior to taking on Batman. What was that movie he was in? It was
Machinist.
The Machinist, yeah. So how he was like 120 pounds in The Machinist, and then he was like 190 pounds of like pure muscle or whatever by the time Batman Begins was out.
Well, so with him specifically, he was that weight in Machinist. He starved himself, and that's not like effects or anything. If y'all see pictures of him from Machinist, he's just very gaunt looking. And then he immediately had to bulk up, like within like months. He didn't have half a year. He had like maybe a month or two at most to bulk back up to audition for Batman and Batman Begins. The problem with that then is he put on too much muscle, so then he had to lose the weight again. So his body was just constantly like that man had to be sick for quite a while.
Yeah, that's not the healthiest thing in the world to do, but I'm not one to judge about the health of another person's body.
Yeah. Neither am I. But yeah. Where are you, on a boat?
I'm dizzy is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. When did our apartment become a boat? Can we do this on a cruise ship? That would be nice.
No, that would be awful for me.
Anyway, so yeah, I have a feeling he'll bulk up and he'll be in Superman shape pretty soon. Yeah. I am curious as to what they're gonna do with the Superman outfit, the costume on this. James Gunn seems to be he's wanting to keep things very what you would expect. No weird like what was the stupid Zuckerberg casting for Lex Luthor or whatever. Like none of that.
And that's true. That actually does bring up who do we think is going to play Lex?
Well, I mean, I still see a lot of people are all talking about what's his face from Malcolm in the Middle, Breaking Bad.
No.
I like him as the idea of Lex. I don't think they're going to do it now.
No.
But that would be a good one. Is kind of like what you were talking about, hiring someone who's still like new in their acting career for Superman. For Lex, they need to get a more established actor. I mean, that's what they've done previously. Like Gene Hackman was already a well-known actor at the time that he played Lex in the original 78 Superman. Kevin Spacey was already a well-known pedophile by the time that he played Lex Luthor.
Wow.
But yeah, like these people have already established their careers by the time that they played Lex. So I want to see someone follow like that similar path.
Well, so yeah, a lot of people are talking about Bryan Cranston. I think he's better. He would be better served as like Commissioner Gordon at this point.
I like that too. Mm-hmm. If they were to, which eventually they'll do the whole merging of all of them again.
Yeah.
William Harold says Nicholas Hoult.
Yeah, bring up Nicholas Hoult because Nicholas Hoult was in the running for Superman as well. I don't see him as Lex necessarily. But that being said, we also haven't really had a Lex that represents the kind of Lex that we want to see, which is the Superman the Animated Series version of Lex, or a more mature version of Michael Rosenbaum's Lex, effectively. That's the kind of Lex I want to see, is the very serious, very threatening and intimidating Lex Luthor, not goofy Gooferson.
If I remember correctly, the Lex Luthor from the Lois and Clark TV show that has the Superman who shall not be named. The Lex Luthor in that show was John Shea. And if I remember correctly, he did a decent job, but he did have like a slight edge of goofiness to him in the vein of like the Gene Hackman performance. But I thought that one was pretty good. I can't remember if he was bald.
They keep trying to go the route of Lex being like an eccentric billionaire.
Yeah.
I just don't think that really works.
Yeah, I want Lex to be an actual businessman. I want like Lex to basically be like kind of like how we see Elon Musk, only probably more intelligent. But
Yeah, and then this actually brings up the good question because a lot of people bat around both Skarsgård brothers, and out of the two of them, I think Alexander would be a better Lex Luthor.
Yeah, I would go Alexander over Pennywise.
Yeah. Hiya, Georgie. Hiya, Superman.
Hiya, Superman.
It's a nice cape you got there.
I see you all fly up there. We float down here. Yeah. That was so stupid. But yeah, I would say, yeah, Alexander Skarsgård would be a good Lex. But yeah, he would have to bulk up in a different way. I know he's already pretty muscular. But he probably needs to bulk up more of just like the good fat that's not necessarily trimmed, going more towards the way of like Kingpin.
He just needs a wider frame, essentially.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I want to see him more wider. That would give him a better like on-screen presence, which would just make him look more imposing. Again, going back to the Clancy Brown Lex from the animated series, that Lex Luthor was a more well-rounded, bigger person.
He's a fuller frame character.
Yeah, which would make sense when fighting Superman, who's all muscles.
Of course, now I would say at this point that verges in the nitpicky territory because we are again comparing to a cartoon, which does have a stylistic way about it. So, if we're comparing to real life, obviously, Vincent D'Onofrio playing Kingpin or even Michael Clark Duncan playing Kingpin, neither one of them reflected the same Kingpin that we saw in like Into the Spider-Verse because that's physically impossible for a human to look like that. So, you have to translate, of course, to what is physically possible for a human being to look like.
Yeah. But yeah, let's get back to Rachel Brosnahan?
Yeah.
I'm going to learn how to pronounce her name, obviously, because we're going to keep talking about her as these movies come out. But
Brosnahan.
Yeah, have I seen her in anything else? Trying to look through.
I think she's Marvelous Miss Maisel. That show.
Is she Miss Maisel? Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's like her big like claim to fame right now is coming off of that show. I think that show just ended too.
Yeah, I'm looking through the movies that she's in. I have not seen any of the movie. Well, wait. No, I saw one. She was in that Patriots Day movie.
Yeah.
I just don't know who she played in that. Oh, she was one of the victims of the bombing. Okay. But yeah, Alexander Skarsgård is 6'4". David Corenswet is 6'4". I mean, that would look good on camera. The two of them like face to face. If they were doing like, like they do like the boxing promotions where the fighters weigh in, they talk a little bit of crap at the press conference and they stare at each other, breathing heavily while sweat trickles down their forehead. That would be a cool looking shot, but.
Or do we ever get Lex in the power suit?
Yeah, and again, James Gunn is trying to keep this more like comic book based rather than whatever else people were originally thinking when they make these Superman movies, like why Lex Luthor is always trying to get land. In every movie he's in, with the exception of the BVS, the Snyderverse, whatever, with the exception of those movies, he's always trying to get land, and I don't know why. That's not a thing in the comics.
Real estate is so lucrative, guys.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't get that. I would like to see, when I was a kid, what was it, 1984, I was collecting those Superpowers figures. I wasn't collecting them, I was playing with them. I was a kid, but there was the Lex Luthor figure that I never got, but that Lex Luthor figure came in the Kryptonian power suit, the green and purple suit that he wears, and I would love to see that on the big screen. So
the age difference between Soups and Lex. So Soups, for what they're doing for the movie, he should be whatever age David Corenswet is playing. And for Lex, I would say earliest would be late 30s. Earliest age would be like 37, 38, 39.
Yeah, I like the idea that Lex is older and Lex he's already a successful businessman. He already has a good solid place in his world. He's kind of like in a Jeff Bezos type of position where he's just super rich. He knows what he's doing. He's in control of like everything around him pretty much. And then here comes the superpowered guy that's just getting in his way. And Superman doesn't necessarily know like the ways of the world. He's just still very stuck on the good guy, bad guy. Everything's black and white. There's no gray in the middle. And Superman's having to learn how that gray area works because that's where Lex typically will stay in.
I think also like my hardest or my biggest problem with people fan casting on the internet whenever they look at who should be fan cast for Lex is that they automatically always start fan casting anybody who's ever been bald, appeared bald in a movie, is currently bald. That is all they go to. They don't realize that people can A, wear bald caps, or B, shave their head. They always flock to someone who has been bald or is currently bald. And I think that's kind of my biggest issue is like anybody with hair could be casted as Lex still. You know that, right? He's just done. So
we were saying earlier about Nicholas Hoult, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to have to wait and see how he looks bald to really give my opinion. Oh, wait a minute.
Nux.
We already saw that, and it was a lovely day.
He wanted us to witness him, and we did.
It was a very lovely day. Yeah. Anyways, William Harold, that guy from Home Alone 2 would make a great Lex, the one who tells Kevin where the lobby is. No.
He's going to be too busy in prison.
Yeah. Unless they want to shoot it from prison. No, I still don't want to see him in a movie.
Potentially. We'll see.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly.
I will attest to this. As someone who has served in this country's military and therefore has had his head shaven bald in basic training, that is a correct statement. Not everyone looks good bald. So be glad that you see hair on my head.
Also,
otherwise I would look like a talking testicle up here on this screen talking about movies, and no one wants to see that.
You still do, just with Bush. So this is another role where Bryan Cranston. See, I got my Commissioner Gordon's mixed up. Bryan Cranston could also potentially play Perry White too. I'd be fine with Gordon or Perry White for him.
My problem with Perry White is like I'm so stuck on Jackie Cooper's performance in the original Christopher Reeve. That is my Perry White. When I think of live action Perry White, that's the one I think of as him. Which
he's not reprising the role, so you got to get over that.
Yeah,
one.
Obviously. But what's weird is then if you were asked me like what is my ideal Commissioner Gordon, I'm thinking Gary Oldman.
Oh yeah, Gary Oldman was perfect.
Even though I grew up with what's his face in the Tim Burton and Schumacher movies, Pat Hingle. Even though I grew up with Pat Hingle playing Commissioner Gordon, I'm still used to more of the Gary Oldman really did nail exactly how I expect Gordon to sound and look.
I mean, to be fair, like I think Gary Oldman's my number one. Personally, I actually do throw Jeffrey Wright as number two. Look, he's an alternate take on Gary. Oh, no, Gary. How did you do that? Keep doing that. He's an alternate take on Commissioner Gordon for sure, but performance-wise, Homeboy was he was Gordon. He was a good Gordon.
Now the other thing though is like my personal preference on Alfred was Michael Gough. I think Michael Gough was the best Alfred out of all of them so far. Michael Caine wasn't bad though.
Yeah.
Sean Pertwee in the Gotham show, he was really good as Alfred.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not a big fan of Jeremy Irons as Alfred. That was, I don't know.
I think this is also fun. This is also a fun choice. Wouldn't actually be a bad choice. I could see it.
I'm so used to Bob Odenkirk being such like a Weasley character after watching Breaking Bad. I never watched Better Call Saul, but I mean, just know his character of Saul from Breaking Bad. Like, I don't know. I feel like he's too Weasley to be able to play that kind of a solid role, even though I watched like Nobody and he's pretty.
I was gonna say I didn't see Nobody, but I imagine he wasn't Weasley in that movie.
No, he wasn't.
So,
J.K. Simmons, I think, could be a good Perry White, but the problem with that is first of all, they're not casting J.K. Simmons as Perry White at all.
You can leave J.K. Simmons out of this one. He doesn't need to be in every superhero thing that ever exists.
No. Yeah, everyone's just gonna think that he's J. Jonah Jameson, and that really needs to be, if he's ever gonna play a news person again, he is only allowed to play J. Jonah Jameson. So.
Yeah, it is fun. It is funny though, him playing Barry White. It's kind of a duality.
Yeah.
The other thing that people are talking about is Jimmy Olsen. And a lot of people right now, I see a lot of people presenting a gender bent Jimmy Olsen, or a Jenny Olsen, I guess, in this case, being played by Sophia Lillis. Which, if they were to go that route, that she's not a bad choice if they wanted to do that.
No, she was the one. She was in the Dungeons and Dragons and the It movies, right?
Yeah. She's not a bad choice if they wanted to go that route for sure. If they wanted to stick with a non-gender bent, if they wanted to keep him male, I would say like throw Gaten Matarazzo in there. I know a lot of people are suggesting him. He doesn't 100% look like Jimmy Olsen, but character-wise, I think he would be. I think Dusty would be hilarious as Jimmy Olsen.
Yeah. I mean, almost any of the 4 kids from Stranger Things, I think, could be good.
Almost. I don't know if I actually would like Finn Wolfhard as Jimmy Olsen, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, again, I think James Gunn's going to keep it more closer to how the cartoon, the comics were. So he's probably not going to do... I don't foresee him necessarily doing things like gender bending a role or changing the ethnicity or skin color of some of these characters. I don't foresee him doing it, but I think it's still a possibility. I don't think that's going to be very likely.
Yeah.
I think he's really wanting to just actually nail down a proper take of the characters that we expect from the comics and the cartoons before, instead of some of the adaptations that they've gotten with them. Dr. Montgomery as Lex.
I don't know if I'm down for that one.
I don't know. The only thing I'm holding out for is I still have an idea of Dr. Montgomery possibly being a pretty decent take on Wolverine. Yeah. Should the MCU reboot Wolverine, which I'm pretty sure they're going to, because again, Hugh Jackman's not really going to want to stick around and play that character for the rest of his life, especially as he gets older and his character doesn't. But yeah, Dr. Montgomery I think could be a good Wolverine, but I'd rather see him as that than Lex. Also, I don't know how Dr. Montgomery looks like bald. So,
I mean, I think, and ultimately, like for anyone who hasn't been bald before or isn't currently bald, that's kind of the route we're going to fall into. We don't know how any of these people look bald. So I think their auditions are going to be, hey, put a bald cap on. Let's see at least see how you look with a bald cap on.
You know what? Let's just bring back Michael Rosenbaum. Just pay him enough money, he'll shave his head. And
I wish, but him and James Gunn did have a conversation because James Gunn was on his podcast and he was like, look, I think you're the best on-screen Lex that there's ever been, live-action Lex. You're not going to be in this movie, but I do think that you've been the best live-action.
And that statement is what gives me like really good faith and hope that James Gunn is going to do this properly. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure we're not going to see the Kevin Spacey, Gene Hackman, goofy wanting real estate Lex Luthor anymore. So anyways, I think that's going to do it for tonight. Again, y'all, this is the last tagline for a couple of weeks. We will be back doing the tagline live Wednesday, July 19th, right before Barbie and Oppenheimer come out. So hope you enjoyed this last tagline for a couple of weeks. I know it was fun for us. So anyways, just quick recap. Again, late tomorrow night will be our spoiler-free review for Dial of Destiny, so make sure you keep an eye out for that. We'll probably also have a out-of-the-theater reaction right after seeing it, so keep an eye out for that. That'll be on the YouTube channel as well. This Friday will be the marquee, where we will be tier ranking Harrison Ford action and sci-fi movies with our very special guests and Harrison Ford experts, the movie guys, Adam Witt and Paul Preston. So that will be this coming Friday. That will be, 7:30 Pacific, 10:30 Eastern.
I know it's a big old surprise that we got them as the guests, but try to hold on, guys. Try to hold on. It's going to be an amazing time.
It is. It's going to be a blast. Every single time we do anything with those two gentlemen, it is always a good time. So, yeah, I'm expecting a lot of fun this coming Friday. And then, yeah, I think that's it for tonight as far as what's coming up. Again, if you are a part of the Patreon, if you are at that $25 tier as of tonight, come join us here in a little bit, roughly in about an hour or so. We will be in our Discord on our Cinefanatics channel in the voice chat, and we will be doing Harrison Ford trivia. I have a nice little trivia lined up for us tonight, so let's see who's good and who knows their Harrison Ford. So come join us for that. Should be a lot of fun. Otherwise, yeah, I think that is it for tonight. So thank y'all for watching, everyone who is watching live in the chat. We very much appreciate y'all being here. Also, if you are watching this on a replay, first of all, thank you for watching it on a replay. I've been watching lately. We usually have started doubling how many people are watching the taglines afterwards. Like this one may end with like, say, 40 views. Where we'll end up with like 80 views over the next couple of days. So thank you. Everyone who's watching this on a replay, we very much appreciate those views. While you are watching it on a replay, make sure you comment down below. Let us know what you like, what you think. We just want to hear anything you have to say, pretty much, as long as you're not trying to troll anyone or being a decent person. That would be a plus. But while you are down there commenting, also make sure you hit that like button and subscribe, and make sure you follow us at the Cinefanatics on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow me personally at Robert Adams MLP on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, and youtube.com/@RobertAdamsMLP, which I might do something over there over this hiatus over the next couple of weeks. So we'll see.
And you can follow me at Chris Adams MLP on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd, as well as twitch.tv/Chris Adams MLP.
Yep. Anyways, that's going to do it for tonight. My cat food alarm is still going off, so I got to go shut that thing off real quick. And anyways, we'll see some of y'all in the chat for trivia here in a little while. Otherwise, we'll see y'all when we see y'all in the future. Thank you for watching, and y'all have a great evening. Goodbye.